I missed the 11:15 again. My own fault. I stayed too long at the office, then stood outside the turnstile of a full minute, patting every pocket before I found my card. By the time I reached the platform, the taillights of the last reasonable train were already shrinking into the dark at the far end of the tunnel. There was nothing to do but wait for the 11:47, which I had taken exactly once before, and I immediately vowed never to take again. The fluorescent strip above the bench on platform 3 had been dying for at least a year. It threw everything into a slow, yellowish pulse, on and off, like something breathing. The platform was nearly empty. A heavy-set man in a delivery uniform sat at the far end, with his chin on his chest, either asleep or deeply, privately miserable. A young woman in a puffy coat stood very close to the yellow line, staring at her phone, the screen light washing her face a clean, surgical white. I sat on the bench under the bad light and pulled out my earbuds and scrolled through nothing. The tunnel breathed cold air at us in slow, even pulses, and in the distance something mental screamed faintly against the rail. At 11:44, the board above the platform flickered and read, 11:47, on time, 8 cars, normal, fine. I put my phone away. The train arrived 2 minutes earlier, which surprised me. I boarded the 4th car. I always board the 4th car, middle of the train, close to the stairs at the most stations, away from the operators who sometimes leave the cabin door cracked and let the radio noise bled out. The car was not empty, but it was close. 3 people in the back, cluster of seats, a teenager with headphones near the door, an older man with a folded newspaper pressed flat against his knee. I sat in a 2-seater by the window. The train lurched, and we moved. It was the kind of routine so deeply practiced that your body does it without you. Stand, step, set. This more mechanical lane into the acceleration. I was tired. My back ached. I had a presentation in the morning I was not ready for. I watched the tunnel wall slide past and thought about nothing, which is a talent you developed after enough late nights. We passed through Carlton Street without stopping. I remember thinking, we're not stopping at Carlton Street. Then I thought, it's late, maybe they skip it after 11, and I'll let it go. I had taken this line for 4 years and I didn't know every rule of the late night schedule. It was a reasonable explanation. The car smelled faintly of something I couldn't name. Not quite mildew, not quite burnt oil ring, something older than either. I noticed the man with the newspaper first, because he had not moved at all. Not shifted in his seat, not turned a page. Not looked up when the train lurched through a rough section of the track near the Caldwell Junction. He was just still. His hands were in his lap. His head was angled down. I told myself he was sleeping, but his back was straight, which is not how people sleep on trains. People who sleep on trains go slack. They list. The heads drop. His head was simply down, like he was reading, but the newspaper was folded, and the light was not good enough to read by. I looked away. I looked back. He had not moved. The teenager with headphones got off at Marsh Hill, which was, I checked my phone, the wrong stop for anyone who'd boarded where we boarded. Then again, maybe she'd transfer earlier and I'd missed it. Thus the people got off together at Arndale, talking quietly in a language I didn't recognize, that it was just me and the old man with the newspaper, and the thin buzzing of the overhead lights. The train moved, but the man did not. I started watching him the way you watch something you want to stop watching. in quick cuts from the corner of my eye. Each looked slightly longer than the last. His coat was dark and heavy, the kind of wool coat that belongs to another decade. His shoes, I noticed, were extremely clean. Not new clean. They had scuffs. They had age, but they were clean in a way that someone had recently and carefully cleaned them, which is not a thing that most people do on a Wednesday night before a late train. A train did not stop at Neville Cross. I know Neville Cross because there is a chip shop adjacent to the exit stairs that I have used every week for 3 years, and I know exactly what the platform looks like. The blue safety tiles, the broken clock above the northern entrance, the benches with the wooden slats replaced by metal ones after some renovations 2 summers ago. We passed through it at full speed. The platform was dark and empty, and went by in under a second, but I saw it. The blue tiles, the broken plunk, the metal bench slates. We did not slow down. There was no announcement. I looked at my phone. No signal, which was normal in the tunnel section. I checked the train line map on the window cling above the door. Caldwell, Marshall, Arndale, Neville Cross, then my stop, Fenwick, then 3 more before the terminus we had skipped to. I stood up. I walked to the door panel and pressed the assistance button. Nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. No crackle of a speaker warming up. No distant click. No automated voice telling my call was being connected. The button lit orange when I pressed it and went dark when I released it. And that was the total extent of what occurred. I pressed it again 4 times. Orange, dark, orange, dark. The man with the newspaper had not looked up. I went back to my seat because standing in the middle of an empty car felt worse than sitting. I told myself the stop were maintenance bypasses, planned engineering windows, the kind of thing they do late at night and don't always announce because the trains are nearly empty anyway. And they assumed no one minds. I had a vague memory of seeing an order somewhere about weekend track work. It was possible. It was a complete possible explanation. I took up my phone again. The time was 12:03, which meant I'd been on the train for 16 minutes and we had not yet Fredwick, which should have been an 8-minute ride from where I boarded. I'd taken this line 4 years. I knew the timing the way I knew my own heartbeat. I looked at the man with the newspaper. His head was no longer angled down. He was looking at me. I don't know how long he had been looking at me. That was the thing I kept coming back to afterwards. Not what his face looked like or what he did next, but the simple fact that I had no idea how long it had been happening. Long enough, maybe, that the shift of his attention felt like the completion of something rather than its beginning. He was not staring in the way of someone who's been caught staring. There was no flicker of embarrassment, no glance away, no social adjustment. He was simply looking at me the way you look at a wall. Patient, directional, without apparent need. His eyes were the wrong kind of still, not calm, not tired. Just waiting, the way a drain waits. I looked down at my phone. I looked out the window. Block, tenor walls, close and fast. I pulled up my messenger and tapped my partner. Hey, going to be a bit late. Train's taking a weird route. The message sat unsent in a grey bubble of no signal. I watched it not send. When I looked up, the man had moved 2 rows closer. I had not heard him move. I'd looking at my screen for maybe 15 seconds. The train was loud. The rattle and the hiss and the long steel moans of the brakes on the curves, and I suppose a person could change seats without being heard in all that noise. I suppose that was true. I suppose a lot of things in the 10 or so seconds that I sat there looking at him sitting 2 rows in front of me. The newspaper still folded on his knee. His clean shoes flat on the floor. His eyes on me with the same patient, war-watching wait. I stood up and moved to the rear door of the car. I was not running. I want to be very clear that I did not run, because running would have made it real in a way I wasn't ready for. I walked quickly, but walked, and I pushed through the connected door into a car 5, which smelled of disinfectant, had 4 people in it, 2 young men sharing earbuds over a phone, a woman with a large cardboard portfolio case, a man and scrub with a coffee. 4 people, normal people, the specific, unmistakable normality of strangers at the end of a very long day. I sat down near the scrub's man in my breath. At 12:11 the train stopped, not at a station. There was no platform, no lights, no signage. We simply stopped in the tunnel in the dark, with the overhead lights dimming slightly the way they do when the train draws from a different power source. The intercom crackled, a long static field breath, and then nothing. After a moment, a voice came through, flat, slightly distorted by the flat speakers, the way all train announcements are slightly distorted. It said, "Apologies for the delay. We are being held due to a passenger incident on the line ahead. We expect to move shortly." Normal, an announcement, a reason. I nearly went weak with relief. Then the doors between car 4 and car 5 opened. I did not look. I looked at my phone. I looked at the scrubs man who was looking at his coffee. I looked at the 2 young men who had not looked up. I looked at my hands. The door connector sealed shut again with its familiar, pneumatic kiss. I did not hear footsteps. Because of the noise of the train systems, the ventilation, the setting metal, there were many sounds, and footsteps would have been invisible with them. I did not look at the seats behind me, not once. Not for the 11 minutes we sat motionless in that tunnel. The train moved again, 4 minutes later. 4 minutes, barely anything. We pulled into Fenwick, my station, the right station finally, and when the doors opened I was through them before the train finished, and I was on the platform, and the train was there behind me. I turned around. I don't know why I turned around. Through the window of car 5, I could see the scrubs man, the woman with a portfolio, the 2 men earring earbuds, the 4 normal people exactly as I'd left them. And in the seat I had vacated, the one near the door, the one I had chosen because it was close to other people, sat the man in the dark blue coat. His newspaper was folded on his knees. His clean shoes were flat on the floor. His head was angled down. The doors closed. The train pulled away. The platform was bright and cold and completely ordinary, and I stood there for what must have been a full minute before I walked to the stairs. I have no memory of my feet on the steps. I have a clear memory of the turnstile, the small resistance of it, the click, the release, and I have a clear memory of the street, the wet pavement, a taxi going by, the smell of rain and exhaust, and the very particular smell of a city at 12:30 in the morning, alive, and unaware, and indifferent. I walked home. I checked 3 times that I'd locked the door. I have not taken the 11:47 since. When I miss the 11:15, I take a cab. When I can't afford a cab, I wait on the platform until the first morning train at 5:40. Under the good lights, where you can see clearly from one end to the other, and everyone boards together, and there is nowhere at all that anyone could move without being seen. I never found out what the passenger incident was. I searched the next morning and there was nothing in the news, which unusually means it was a medical episode, a disturbance, someone pulled from a gap. Nothing to report. Probably nothing to report.